Learn to build a raised bed here. Hi, this is Bud, and I'm going to show you in 5 minutes how to build a garden that will produce up to 10 times as much food. Does not include the time it takes to build it. This technique is called raised bed intensive gardening. I like to make my beds about 5 feet wide and 2 feet high. The width is twice the distance that I can easily reach. The height or depth of the bed is 2 feet, which gives ample room for most plant growth. Since the beds are never walked on or compacted in any way, the plant roots have no restrictions. It allows moisture to easily penetrate the bed. The bed has good drainage but also retains water easily. A raised bed garden is just that. It is a small bed, maybe 5 feet wide by 5 feet long. The bed is constructed to provide maximum growth attributed to the plants. The nutrition is right, the correct amount of light is present, the soil temperature is okay, and the bed always has the correct amount of water. So what is an intensive raised bed garden, and why is it called intensive? It is a constructed bed, usually with sides made of some rot-resistant material that is filled with those things plants like to have to grow. My beds are generally built of scrap material. The ones that I am constructing this year use old building metal siding that was given to me and some old treated 2x4s for stakes to hold them together. This is a typical raised bed garden. Raised bed intensive garden, how to build one for self-sufficiency. If you want to buy this book, it is available from Amazon Kindle. You can see that the construction of raised bed is simple. It is a fair amount of work. Make sure that your corner and side stakes are secure so that they hold the weight of the dirt. Sometimes it is necessary to frame the top of the bed with 2x4s. This will hold the sides. Raised bed construction is just like any other building project. You need to have a plan. I have never drawn a formal plan for raised beds. The sequence of construction goes something like this. Lay out your individual beds in your garden. This works unless you're like me and don't get everything done the first time. When I use old sheet metal roofing, the metal provides a barrier for most of the deep-wooded weeds and plants that penetrate the bed. We have lots of grasses here in eastern Washington that spread by their roots. These grasses don't seem to go under the metal walls. The walls are constructed by driving stakes or posts into the ground at the edge of the bed. The bed metal is then fastened to the post. My 5 foot by 5 foot beds have a post at each corner and one in the middle of each panel. The beds are 5 feet wide and longer, have posts or stakes about every 4 feet. If you feel that you need to put 2x4s to stiffen and support the sides, then use them. This depends a lot on the kind of material you're using for the walls. Just be sure that you have wall materials that are high rot resistant and long life. After I have the walls up, I fill in the bottom of the bed. Believe it or not, almost anything can be used at the bottom foot of the bed. Mine are filled with old limbs, discarded wood, wood chips, hay, straw, old paper bags, cardboard, small and medium rocks. In general, anything that will provide drainage and trap nutrients for the bed. After the bottom is filled, the bed is covered with a layer of cardboard, old sticks, sacks, old feed sacks, or anything that will create a decomposable barrier over the bottom. The next 6 inches or so of soil was removed from the bed. On the top of the soil layer, a layer of organic material was placed. This can be manure, straw, old hay, compost if you have enough, but compost is best used later. Grass clippings or even wood chips. The next layer needs to be compost or manure. You can even buy potting soil for this labor. Some of the authors that talk about small raised beds talk about this. This is not an option for my bed because it costs too much. This layer really needs to be loaded with nutrients. Since I am not an organic gardening purist, many times I will seed this layer with commercial fertilizer. My next layer is another layer of heavy organic stuff like old straw, hay, chips, or if I have enough compost. Rotted manure works well here also. If there's a lot of wood material in this layer, it is seeded heavily with a high nitrogen fertilizer. The top layer of the bed is composed of garden soil, the stuff you dug out mixed with compost. By this time, you should have a mound above your bed about 6 inches to a foot. This won't last long. Put a lot of water on your bed and let it set a while. The aging of the bed is why most of my new beds are started in the fall and finished in late winter before planting begins. If you're going to plant seeds in a raised bed, a little extra preparation might be in order. Screen the topmost layer of soil after you've completed your bed. What I use is a frame with a 1/4 inch hardware cloth in it. It's about 2 inches and 1/2 feet square. This takes out all of the bigger pieces and makes seedlings much easier. Your simple raised bed checklist. Plan where you're going to build your bed. Decide what materials you need to get. Lay out the bed, dig down the base of the bed, build sides of the bed, fill in layers of the bed, add final layer of soil, plant your bed. Oh, one last thing. You have to figure out how you're going to water your bed.